The present model served us well in the past, but it's outdated. Kind of like us baby boomers, having to have this paradigm shift in the way we think. The airport is going to have a paradigm shift in how it serves the people.
As we look at the airport as a port, as part of a logistics system, as the movement of people and freight, and understanding how that can be of economic advantage to Kansas City, it's important to realize that this asset reaches the entire region. And in fact, it's a place that's open every single day of the year, almost 24 hours a day, and it can't close down, and it's critical to our future. So thinking about how we accommodate air service that exists today and how we might anticipate it existing tomorrow is within all of our mutual interest wherever we are in Kansas City. And as we look at aircraft that, quite frankly, the service that we have today, those aircraft coming in are getting larger. They're different aircraft than they were when KCI was built or even in the last handful of years. And thinking strategically about how we accommodate air service for the future is very, very important. And I think the engagement of a conversation around that to be thoughtful is one that we have to do. It's a great, important asset, our airport is, and it's not going to go away, it won't close down, and it requires all of us as leaders in Kansas City, as individuals that are interested, to take a look at its true potential in making Kansas City a great place and growing Kansas City for our future, for our kids, and creating jobs and opportunities for young people that I know we all want.
Really, for the first time in the history of the team that started in 1969, we have people traveling from all over the country. And you could probably argue all over the world if they're coming back to Kansas City to visit friends or family. And that's where a vital airport becomes vital for the Royals, because we have people that are seeing the team for the first time in a long time from all over the continent. There aren't very many people that need to be told that a vital airport in the region is a big deal when it comes to companies locating and relocating in Kansas City. And how that translates for us is that companies are buying season tickets, and that can only help us in the future.
As a region, we have to be committed to the growth and prosperity of our airport and our ability as a region to be able to make that economically prosperous in order for the rest of us to be prosperous. In Overland Park, we are 14% of the passenger travel to the Kansas City airport, second behind only Kansas City, Missouri. So we know that there's a symbiotic relationship between our community and the Kansas City airport. So it behooves all of us to work together to try to find solutions that are going to be important not only for us as a community, but Kansas City as a region.
When you look at the airport project, and we are supporting a one terminal project, it would create many jobs immediately for the region. The estimate is 18,000 jobs, and the airlines at the airport, they are wanting to grow. They are wanting to increase jobs also. So we feel that the new facility would give them opportunities to do that. The Northland Regional Chamber of Commerce thinks that it is a responsibility of us to support development that will impact the region. And this development at the airport would be the largest economic development project that's happened in the Kansas City area for 50 years.
We're talking about 16,000 construction jobs. Those aren't all necessarily new construction jobs, but with that many construction jobs, you're certainly going to talk about bringing some new folks into the construction industry. And that's extremely important for our community. And jobs like that in my industry with our union are good paying jobs with benefits that obviously add economic impact to our entire community.
It's oftentimes the gateway to a community. In Kansas City in general, and that's the specific, we're an exporter of professional services, whether that's engineering, architecture, or the finances. We're headquarters to a power plant production engineering firm. We have many engineers that travel across the country and across the globe. It's important that they have a quality airport to reach their destinations. Those jobs, those contracts bring revenue back to our community in the form of salaries as well as tax dollars to support local governments and services. Lunetza is a hub of the life sciences here in the Kansas City area with over 33 companies in that industry. their business requires an airport, a quality airport, to bring international clients into the Midwest, into Kansas City, and certainly Johnson County, Lenexa, to do business. It's important that the airport in any community is alive, vibrant, and has the flights, the connecting flights, what have you, to the world. It's the gateway to a community for those traveling from afar. So it's our connection to the world.
Site selection is incredibly important to how we decide where our convention goes. The international guests that we have almost double when we're on the East Coast. That's attributes to ease of access and the airport directly. Not only is that by just the general attendee, but that also reflects directly on how we attract exhibitors. And exhibitors spend a lot of money to come to events, to conventions, and they want a return on their investment. Just imagine if we can double our international attendance for our event, what that does for all of the other events that Kansas City attracts. And what will that do to the economic impact and the growth of our city?
If you don't have opportunities for airports to grow and expand and be vital to the needs of the business, what you see is leaking of traffic to other airports surrounding any metropolitan area. If you look at what airport development has been doing for the last 30 years, a single terminal is the most operationally efficient way to accommodate your passengers in your community. And it provides you a lot of flexibility and adaptability to grow for the future. Commercial airports typically run independently on their separate enterprise fund, that all the monies and revenues that are generated in the airport have to stay in the airport. And any capital needs that are generated out of the airport do not have an effect on the taxpayer.
We bring in a lot of site consultants, folks who are looking to potentially locate into Wyandotte County, locate into the region. We're vying for that business to help them make that decision, that leap to invest here. And so from the moment that they touch down in the airport, that experience that they have of Kansas City begins right then. For us, looking at how we can help our companies expand into that international space. So right now, I would say we have a very small number of companies that are involved in international trade. It's more passive than it is truly engaged. We want to turn that around. And as we do that, we need to be able to look at all capabilities. And largely, I think it goes back to the airport and their ability to ship products internationally out of this location.
Yes, if Kansas City was considered a Tier 1 city for flights, and our airport was in that category, and we could attract an international flight. Some have said to me that it would be $250 million value-added proposition for our region with just one international flight. So imagine if there was more than one, but what it would mean to corporations that might pass over us now to locate their world headquarters.
One of the things when I travel, and especially if I have a layover, I like to be able to have something to do other than just sit there and wait for the next flight. And I find in other airports, they have shops, they have nice restaurants, and it's convenient to get to, so I can then catch my next flight. So I think it's critical that something be done at that airport.
An airport in a city is more than just a matter of people who occasionally fly and the convenience associated with it. An airport is $1 billion investment, it's an asset. And if that asset is not being completely and thoroughly used, then the city and everybody in the city is missing out on tax revenue. One thing I'll say about airports and the way that they fit into communities is they have to serve more than a single purpose. It's not just a place to catch a plane and go someplace. It's a place where business people need to have in order to conduct business. It's a place where people transfer back and forth through to get from one place to the other. Everybody who goes to an airport forms some sort of an impression. The impression that we are having formed in Kansas City right now by people who don't live here is a negative impression. That doesn't help us. Business people don't want to come here. We've had organizations who we've tried to lure complain about the airport. We've had businesses complain about the airport. We have to understand that an airport is an asset on a number of different levels, and there is absolutely nothing that we would do to make an inconvenient airport purposely. We would always build an airport that had conveniences in it, but part of those conveniences are modern conveniences that ours simply does not have.
It has been said that if you build a mile of road, it will take you a mile. But if you build a mile of runway, it can take you anywhere in the world.